Hello. So my good friend Andre is he's like interviewing for a position in a living situation. So I'm just chilling in the car waiting for him to come back. But I just wanted to make a little video about him because I already made one video about him and I wanted to make an updated one because obviously like feelings change, people change too. Never thought the circumstances would have changed you. Um, I forgot a line in that, I'm just now realizing. But anyway, the point is, let me try and set this up. It's tricky, but I can do it. So, I just wrote, I just made like a TikTok video and then like wrote a caption for it. I don't think I can get this to stay. I wrote a caption for it that said, a huge part of my reasoning for being on this planet, a huge part of my journey here, is to learn to master non-attachment, to release myself from expectations, and to heal from all the wounds that have been caused to me from having those expectations and not having released them yet. So, my last serious relationship, like that I would consider a serious relationship, was a dynamic where I met this person and then we were like seeing each other long distance and I would fly 1,000 miles to go be with him and I'd spend weeks at his place. He came and stayed with me, rode his bike 300 miles, and then I drove 9 hours to go get him, and he came and stayed with me for 2 weeks, and then we just like, he came and stayed with me a couple times, and then I went to stay with him once. And it was like one of the most beautiful experiences of my life. It helped me grow, it helped me shift into a whole new paradigm in my life, and I'm so thankful for that. But it was very painful because I became so attached to him and I wasn't managing my attachment the way that I should have and the way that was possible in a future timeline. And the reason I say that is because there's a very important, part of our journey here, and it's recognizing that we are not supposed to be in the higher timeline now. We experience this one as a stepping staircase up to higher timelines. So you must experience this one and make the mistakes and experience the pain, because pain is disharmony. When you experience pain, you are experiencing disharmony, and when you experience disharmony, it's a signifier of a way that you do not want to experience life anymore. It's a pain that tells you, this doesn't feel good, and I don't want this anymore. I don't want to experience this anymore because it doesn't feel good, and the only way you know what you don't want is by getting what you don't want. So you figure out what you do want, which is the absence of that experience. So how do you get rid of these experiences? How do you avoid them? Well, you take notes and you grow, you learn, you become wise. And you start to notice when you go through situations, these little similar things pop up and you go, oh, this feels familiar. I feel like I've been here before. And it's not to avoid the situation, it's to experience it differently the next time it comes around. So I'm having another go around of the same type of dynamic. It's just an evolved version. It's a higher step in the staircase. The first relationship ended in flames, was one of the most painful, heartbreaking things I've ever experienced. Ever. I'm getting spicy. And it was honestly hell. My attachments to this person really fucked me up. They really fucked me up. I really let myself become so attached and became so attached that this person leaving my life devastated me in a way that I would never be devastated by anyone else doing that same thing to me, because of how much I made him important and special. I placed so much value and importance on his place in my life And I think about that. Me placing that importance on him instead of myself is what caused the pain. Because if you're always first place in your life and you're always the, your favorite and you love you the most, no one can come along and then become so important that they eclipse how important you are to you. They can't. And it's the experiences that I manifest are fucking jam-packed with opportunities for me to become distracted, for me to put other people on pedestals, for me to lose sight of my own value and my own worth, to care more about other people's well-being than myself. I am that bitch. That is my struggle. My struggle in life is learning to love myself enough and place so much priority and importance and emphasis on my own health and happiness and wealth and satisfaction and success. That is my journey. And I'm there. But the universe will come around with the same lessons and teach you the same lesson and quiz you and go, how you doing? And you'll go, I'm doing good. I know how to handle this. And it'll go, poke, and just like pokes you right in that fucking sore spot within you and goes, oh, what about now? And you're on the ground rocking and crying. And you're like, oh, I'm not as far along as I thought I was. But you'll also realize you'll get jabbed and you'll go, I'm fine. And that's when you learn. That's when you know. I'm healing. I'm healed. It's a puppy. So I'm learning to not get distracted. I'm learning to see myself in my highest good and use love and romance as an exciting force to drive me forward. There's a horse that looks like it's made out of wind and fire and rain and all these things. Let me show you. Puna. I love Puna. Look at this horse. So this horse is a representation of the force needed to move yourself forward. And the love that you experience and the romance that you experience can become codependent, and you can become lost in the relationship. You can lose yourself and lose sight of the importance of your own self, or you can use it to move you forward. And I'm using it to move me forward. And that is a significant evolution for me, because my last relationship, I straight up was just, I simped for this boy harder than I ever simped for anyone. And it was because he manifested that. Like, he straight up set that up and cultivated that. He called that in just as much as I did. He simped for me and was willing to go to great lengths and abandon himself. And I interpreted that as romance. So what do you think's going to happen? We're just going to perpetuate. That's the vortex we created together. That's the paradigm, is like, how much can I betray myself for this person? And ultimately, he became my God. And that's really, like, so weird. And people probably feel so sorry for me and look at me and feel some type of way about it and go, that's pathetic. And you're right, it is, because I didn't love myself enough. And now that I love myself enough, sorry, I'm trying to get the dirt off my feet. I'm like shaking the camera everywhere. But this isn't, you're not supposed to look at me, you're supposed to just hear me, right? That's what this is for. So, where was I? Basically, I was just going to tell you that this time around, this love that I'm experiencing, I'm not losing myself in it. Because I'm laying next to and waking up in the morning next to and spending my whole day with, basically, one of the most gorgeous human beings that I've ever met in my life. Like, just delicious. Like, this man's has me, like all day and all night. I am just simping for him. But at the same time, I'm also his muse, and he's like putting me in these music videos and making me feel so beautiful and powerful, and like he supports my music. Like, it's not just about me being like pretty or whatever, or like having boobs or whatever. Like, he genuinely sees my soul. Like, he sees my soul for what it is and what makes me so beautiful. Like, deeply, timelessly, endlessly, infinitely beautiful. He sees it. He sees that spirit in me. And that's what's helping me just love myself more. It's making me love him more, duh. But it's making me love me more and realize, like, I'm the fucking main character in my story. I absolutely am the main character in my story. And I'm not gonna let some guy come in and be like, oh, I'm the main character. And I'm like, actually, no, you're not. I'm not gonna let him do that, because the truth is that he knows, he admitted to me about my art and how profitable and marketable and successful that I'm going to be. And that's just beautiful. And I'm able to just detach from expectation about how it's going to turn out. Like, are we going to be together? Are we not? I don't care. He's sexy, and I love him, and I love getting to experience him. And I don't care what happens. Like, I genuinely don't. I have removed myself from the grounds of being sad or upset or stressed out or embarrassed or whatever, because I was embarrassed that I wasn't ever officially my last person's partner. He was never my boyfriend. I never actually could call him that. He never called me his girlfriend. We never talked about marriage. We never talked about having kids. Like, but I claimed him as the person, like my forever person in my mind and my spirit. I just kind of like attached that expectation harder than I've ever attached to anything before. And of course it hurt more than anything that has ever hurt before. So this is all to say, don't attach to things. Let the breeze come through, and know that when the breeze comes through, you're never going to get that same breeze again. You're going to get other breezes, and they're all going to be mighty fine. Some are going to be more memorable than others. Some are going to awaken you more than others. Some are going to ignite you more than others. Some are going to hurt more than others. But the truth is, I'm learning. Expectations and attachments only hurt you. And I know what you're thinking. Well, I have BPD. My childhood was traumatic. How do I ever heal from this? Over time. You just give yourself time, and eventually you'll heal. And you'll recognize more and more you're healing. You are. You're changing, you're growing, and you're healing. And everything's amazing. Love you. Bye.